So they offered me like a couple of $1,000 to replicate my voice, to model my voice. I would have gotten like a percentage of the earnings. So pretty much I wouldn't have had to do anything anymore. Like they would have used my voice. I would have got a percentage of the ad revenue. But I said no, and I left. So it's usually some like tech bro or some dude who's already in finance that has a lot of money to invest into YouTube and take this very mechanical, this very like Watch Mojo approach where it's like we're going to mass produce, we're going to upload as much as possible. It doesn't matter if every video is a banger. It just matters that we upload constantly. And that's the whole method of those channels. And they screwed me over. They didn't pay me any of the money that I was owed for the past 2 months when the channel got taken down.
It's beyond content farms, content factories. You know, like
yes.
You are my first ever interview on this channel.
Well, I think that just shows, you know, how hard you go with your research because, you know, I was going to save this for the ending, but I will say you could have milked this whole situation a ton, but I respect you a lot for actually having me on here, you know, to give your audience answers and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
you know, like,
for sure.
You could have farmed the heck out of this, and you really did it. So I respect you for that.
Yeah, because first of all, I believe in you. Like you know, like even when I was first watching it before we even spoke, I was like just seeing like, I feel like this guy's genuine, you know, like yours was so different because you know, I was so used to these, you know, like the content farms and the AI and people telling me to look at you, you know, and I look at you, I'm like, something's different about this one.
You were so chill. I don't think people realize, you know, like I wouldn't call this in any sort of way like cancel culture, but like when you were in the position that I'm in, it's very hard, you know what I mean, to actually get a response in. But the fact that you're letting me come on here is awesome. And in your initial stream, dude, you were very like you dissected it for like almost 3 hours, right? Like you could have hopped on, they're like, this is AI and hopped off, but like, you know, even before talking to me, you gave me a really good assessment. So like, I don't think you need my endorsement, but I will say as somebody who was in the hot seat, I do endorse Jackson a ton. So.
Oh, thank you. And hey, I endorse you. I think you have such a great attitude. And I'd love to hear also, I think a great place to start would be for you to tell me, you know, just what is the goal of your channel? What's like the goal of your content? What are you trying to share with the world?
Well, so I'll say that I am a major nerd for trivia and just information in general. You know, like I love documentaries. I love deep research when it comes to content, right? Like I really like looking into data and behind the scenes and presenting it. I really like the mistakes and stuff. I'd say the goal with my content is I made SpongeBob content for so long on that other channel, right? And I have a major passion for SpongeBob. And for this channel, it's kind of me taking back my own thing. You know what I mean? Like, if anybody here remembers from the Grapple days, right? Grapple was something that I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Grapple, which we'll get into a lot. You guys are going to get all the Grapple lore today. But I would say the best way to describe it is this channel is me taking my own passion back and getting to make content about something that I want to make, and I'm in control about all of it, which is really nice.
That's super cool. And tell me a little bit about like your process in how you research and in how your content at first glance, you can think it's just, you know, presenting data or presenting this, but how you do more than that. You could describe some of that.
Yes. Yeah, because I noticed at the last live stream, and this is something that I'm not going to lie, it used to bother me when people would assume this, but I also have to be self-aware and understand that the way I dress up my content, like the thumbnails I use and stuff, I can understand it giving people an impression. But just one thing I want to clear up right away is I think a big misconception is that I kind of just read off of the Spongepedia wiki, which is really incorrect. Obviously, there's some of that there. The Spongepedia is a great resource for a lot of information. But to give you guys an example, like if I'm going to do a mistake video, right? I'm not just going there and covering every mistake on Spongepedia, right? Like I'll go there, guys, and I cherry pick the mistakes that I want to talk about. There's a variety of different types of SpongeBob mistakes, from continuity mistakes to layering issues to sound errors throughout SpongeBob, right? I don't just like go and like say I was going to cover Help Wanted, right? I don't go and just read off every single mistake there. I'll watch that episode and find every single mistake to confirm it, because I think Jackson knows what I'm talking about here. That Spongepedia isn't always accurate. Like, it
True.
has a lot of really good information there. It's a resource, but it's just text. Not every single mistake, guys, has an image, right? Like right now, I want you to pull up, you don't have to do this, Jackson, but everybody else on your phone, go pull up Ripped Pants, the episode Ripped Pants from SpongeBob, and go to the error section, and you'll see that some errors may have a photo showing you where that mistake is, but a lot of them don't. It's just text. So imagine if you were in my position, you're going to have to go through and watch that episode and find the exact frame where those mistakes take place, and then present it in a video. So for mistakes, just to kind of highlight right there, the mistake videos are a lot harder than I think a lot of people think. And I am not just reading off the wiki, guys. There are sometimes I've found mistakes myself. And then another thing is, I'd say like the main bulk of my content is the Easter egg videos. And those ones are, I put so much time and effort into those Easter egg videos, guys. Like I'll find details myself, or I'll find Easter eggs or references myself. I don't only rely on the wiki. So I'm rambling about that, but I think the biggest takeaway of what I'm saying here is the major misconception is that I'm just like milking the Spongepedia wiki, where I'd advise you guys, like if you were going to attempt to recreate what I do, right? Go and make mistake videos or Easter egg videos, it'd be really difficult. And just to kind of prove that point more, if you really think about it on the space right now, in terms of SpongeBob content, I'm actually like the only one who's doing these mistake videos. I'm the only one. Like, there's no one else that I can think of that does these mistake videos. And there's a reason for that. It's because they actually are a lot harder to produce than people think. Same thing with Easter egg videos. So that's my input on it. And if anybody in chat has questions about it, and of course you, Jackson, you lay them on.
No, that's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the concept of videos that are to fall asleep to, because that's kind of the type of video. Obviously, it's not necessarily just for people who only are falling asleep to it, but that's the type of video, and how this sort of content is something that people deserve to have AI free, and how AI takes over these, and how someone like you wants to add the human element that is necessary to that sort of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will say really quick, some people are mentioning my profile picture in chat, which by the way, we're going to get to. We have like lots of details on that. But yes, can you repeat your question one more time, buddy? You cut out a little bit.
Oh, I did. Basically describe like the concept of sleep content.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
Yeah, and how AI channels have kind of ruined sleep content, and how people who want sleep content deserve better.
Yes, yeah. I think one thing to understand is I don't think a lot of the people who would watch more integrity-driven content like yours, Jackson, I don't think a lot of those people would watch sleep content. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be super honest with you guys. I myself, I don't really fall asleep to sleep content. It is a niche right now on YouTube that is really popular, and there are a lot of people, guys, believe it or not, who like falling asleep to content creators. Right now, SpongeBob is a big one for sleep content, but the problem is a majority of these channels that provide this this type of content that is in demand are all AI, from Cartoonology to a lot of the other ones that do compilations. They're all AI. Whereas with me, guys, none of my content is AI at all. And I think that's what kind of justifies my content to an extent, is there is clearly people who want to watch sleep content. Maybe it isn't you, and I respect that, but a lot of people do, and I'm the only person who's providing non-AI sleep content, like no AI whatsoever. I do compilations, which we're going to talk about as well. I know a lot of you guys have questions about that, but to be clear, there's no AI in my content whatsoever, and I feel like I'm providing something that no other content creator is providing at a wholesome level, if that makes any sense.
And what do you think is like sort of the demographic, at least for like sleep content? Like what kind of audience are you targeting?
For me, I'm just targeting SpongeBob fans,
Hmm.
but what I'm doing is I'm seeing what I would describe it as is packaging. Okay, what's happening here is I'm just making normal SpongeBob content like you. Like for example, guys, I make 25-minute videos is what I actually make. Okay, each week I make like 3 or 4 25-minute videos, and then I turn them into the compilations. I'm not necessarily trying to target people who want to fall asleep to content. I'm kind of just taking a format and formatting my content that way. That way, more people watch it. If that makes any sense. Like I put a lot of time into each video, and I found that using this sleep format gets me the most viewership, right? But I'm not just doing that for the sake of viewership. It's just, you know what I mean? It's working for me, so I'm continuing to do it. If that makes any sense.
And I know like we're saying it's, you know, to fall asleep to. That's like the kind of the title of the content, but would you say like it's not just for fall asleep to? Like maybe if someone is work from home, you know, like they have a long job that they're doing. I actually had a commenter on the original Cartoon Corey deep dive, who changed my mind on it, actually. Even like was, you know, because I was skeptical, you know, and was saying, it was kind of the person who really sold it for me, where they said that something like, you know, the mistakes and the Easter eggs, the way that you do it has a really solid balance of being something that is substantive, something that is good to listen to. You know, what I always preach, what I always talk about is stuff that is good to listen to. You know, you always want to be listening to something good. You don't always have to be listening to, you know, science, creation of the universe, or, you know, all this, like, you know, like, because sometimes, especially if you're working, like, let's say you're, you know, animators is a big one. People who are animators are sitting doing busy work that they have to pretty much focus on, but you also kind of need something in the background, or even video editors, you know,
Even,
and
yep.
sometimes something like that, it's like, you know, you have these 200 different entries, and you put in all this work to all these 200 different entries, and someone watching who's maybe busy working while they're watching it, they might miss entries 50 through 60. And that's unfortunate that they missed entries 50 through 60, because maybe they were super focused on something in their animation, something in their work, whatever they were doing. But when they pick right back up at 60, they're going to be okay, you know? Whereas if there was something else where it was like, learn physics, you know, or whatever, you know, you don't want to miss, you know, a certain part. You need to watch that when it's like, oh, I am sitting down and buckling down. So that was a certain kind of value to your content that was brought up to me by a commenter that I would like to, you know,
Yes.
add
I
on
think
to. Yeah.
people with anxiety enjoy that type of content. And
Yes.
one thing too, I would kind of explain to people is understand I come from a marketing background. So it's like I work with bands and help them market their band and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So just to kind of give you guys an idea, that's kind of my background. So view my content like this. It's dressed up like sleep content, right? Like that's the clothing my content is wearing. So that way it provides that it provides that purpose. But if you were to actually click my content, it isn't really 100% sleep content. Like it's just dressed up that way. It'd be like if Jackson took like a bunch of his videos and put them together and then titled it as sleep content.
Hmm.
That's the way I would view it. Is like I'm not actually making like a 2 hour long video that's like just meant for people to fall asleep to and it's boring. I'm making like 25-minute videos with a lot of passion into them that you could watch on its own aside from the sleep content, but I'm dressing it up, right, in the sleep content format. Like separate the content from the title and thumbnail a little bit. You know what I mean? View it like that. That's the way I'm dressing up the content, so that way it appeals to that audience. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be real with you. The whole reason I started doing that, guys, is originally on Cartoon Corey, I was posting 25-minute videos. So to be clear, I didn't like just come into the game making 2 hour long videos. I originally was making 25-minute videos and nobody was watching them. And then I started seeing the dreadful Cartoonology channel, which was absolutely milking this sleep format with AI, where they were making like 2 hour long AI, like just fucking slop, like awful videos, right? But what was making Cartoonology pop off originally was they were doing that sleep format. So I seen that and I was like, maybe I could take my content, make it into a compilation, and then I could sell it like the sleep content,
Hmm.
right? Which is working for me. And I feel like a lot of the comments I get from people on my videos, if you go and look, is it's people being like, oh, finally I found a channel like this that I can watch that isn't AI.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Let's talk about too, because you're let's discuss thumbnails and titles and thumbnails and the whole YouTube click-through rate metagame. So I'll just real quick for the audience show some of the thumbnails of what you make, and we can have you explain how these thumbnails work and how they help your content. So we're going to disappear for a second. This is generally what the Cartoon Corey thumbnails look like. Have you discuss your process with your thumbnails and how they help with your content?
Absolutely, yeah. When me and Jackson talked about this, it actually kind of opened my eyes to something because people will sometimes bring up my thumbnails and they'll say that they look very content milly, right? And then when me and Jackson were talking about it, I was like, can you give me some examples of other channels that do this thumbnail style? Like, for example, some of you may feel my thumbnails look like a content mill channel. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out where that association came from. And when we looked into it, the only example we could find was like one thumbnail from Cartoonology, and it was Cartoonology copying me. So to give you guys some insight, the reason a lot of you feel that it's content milly is because that thumbnail style is from Grapple. That's where that thumbnail style from. If you guys all think about it in your head, the circle with the arrow is from Grapple. That's where that originated from. That's a thumbnail style that I brought to that channel. So I think there's actually a misconception of it being like a content mill thumbnail. It isn't. I'm the only one actually doing them. And just so everybody knows too, I use real screenshots. Like I sent one to Jackson in chat when we talked a while back. You don't have to show it, but like all my thumbnails guys are using real screenshots, but I'll do some edits. So for example, like one of them is the one with Squidward's house and it's turned yellow, but that's not AI. That's completely real. Like every one of my thumbnails, guys, I really want to say this point blank. Every single one of my thumbnails is using a real screenshot from SpongeBob. There's no AI in my thumbnails. And I'm the only one doing that thumbnail style. So.
Or also it some of them are your own edits. Like you go into like Photoshop and you make your own edits, which I do with my thumbnails. I have one, my Squidward torture video is a red Squidward because red gets the. Was that the case with the Squidward's house, the gold?
Yeah, that is just that's a color edit. That's not like AI making it yellow.
Yeah.
Just so to be clear. And one other thing to add, guys, they're not I would argue that they're not really clickbait because, like, for example, the whole thing of my content is me pointing out something in the background that you didn't see. So if you look at my thumbnails, it's me like circling like an object and then I'll pixelate it, which is kind of like what I'm doing in the content. Like I'm taking something hidden in the background that you haven't noticed and I'm bringing attention to it and talking about it. Right? So like I understand if some people don't like the look of the thumbnails, but there's times, guys, where the thumbnail is exactly what I talk about in the video. Like literally the object in the hand of like SpongeBob that's pixelated is an Easter egg that I discuss in the video. So we don't have to agree if it's clickbait or not, but just to be clear with you guys, like I personally don't think they're clickbait. I'm using real screenshots from the show, no AI, and what I talk about is like, I feel like the thumbnail kind of represents what I'm doing in the video.
I actually would argue that clickbait is a factual term. So I would actually argue factually that they're not clickbait because clickbait literally means, and it's thrown around so much, but clickbait literally means you put something in the thumbnail and the title to get people to watch the video, and that promise is not fulfilled, and that just doesn't apply to what you're doing.
You're baiting them to click. And to give you guys an idea, back in the day, like what clickbait would be back in the day, people would talk about something and then they'd put like titties in the thumbnail. That was a common one back in the day. Hopefully that wasn't inappropriate for the stream, but that was a major common one in like 2009, 2010.
No, it's very common.
I agree with Jackson a ton. I think what it is when people see somebody trying with their thumbnails and they're making their thumbnails clickable, it can come across as like, I don't know. I understand. Like, I think sometimes people like when YouTubers are very like. I'll give you an example. The goat. I say his name wrong. Awi. You've always corrected me, Jackson. How do you say his
Ava.
name?
Ava.
Right? Like, they're an example of somebody who doesn't really do this. They just do their thing, and they're just like very wholesome. So I understand when people like that. But I'd say like me and Jackson, we're the type where we really try to optimize our videos to be clickable, right? And if you guys yourselves were to put like hours into making a video, you would want to optimize it to be clicked. I feel like you'd want people to click it as long as you're not lying. You know what I mean? Like, would you say in any sort of way, Jackson, that my thumbnails are misleading? And give me your honest opinion. Like,
I don't think so at all. I think it does communicate exactly what it is. The only reason that they raised an eyebrow for me was because of that association with Cartoonology, with Grapple, you know, and Cartoonology, they took it from you. Like, if you look at the timeline, it's like Cartoonology's one that's 3 months ago, yours is 9 months ago. You know, if you look at that fine print, it's like, and I did also remember it from because Grapple was before my time. If I you know, Ava was actually the one who covered Grapple back when they were still active.
Dude, I'm so excited for us to talk about Grapple. Just you guys want to stay tuned for that?
And I remembered the thumbnails from that as well. So that was like the association. And it's unfortunate how like that can happen, where like something can just become associated with something arbitrarily, you know? And it is difficult for us as creators to navigate that because, you know, obviously we're going to try as hard as we can right here to say, hey, audience, this is a misconception. Let's try to deal with it, you know? And, but it can always be difficult to navigate that. I come up against, you know, a similar, dilemma with my thumbnails. I guess I could show some of mine just to kind of give the comparison.
Oh, dude, I just realized I'm using like the wrong microphone.
You're using the wrong microphone?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
check,
yeah.
check, check.
Yeah, you sound a lot better.
Is that much better?
I like here. Okay. So yeah, so here's my thumbnail style. So I've actually been able to do a couple that were a little different, like this not good one. But generally, my thumbnails will be some variation of this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, not good, not deserved, totally deserved, this works, this doesn't. You'll notice that there is a pattern to this. And this pattern is not accidental. This pattern is due to a lot of testing and seeing the percentage of what thumbnails work and what things get certain click-through rates. I did in a previous stream, I've addressed this where it was on my, it's called Modern SpongeBob Doesn't Understand Science Fiction. And really that video is not a modern SpongeBob bashing video, very much at all. It really was, that video was my desire to discuss science fiction in SpongeBob, and I took episodes. I think I covered 9 episodes, I think it was 8 episodes from all across the SpongeBob era: classic SpongeBob, middle SpongeBob, modern SpongeBob, and there were multiple thumbnails to that title, multiple thumbnails and titles to that video. And I knew going in that I was like, okay, my backup is I'm going to say modern SpongeBob doesn't understand science fiction because I know modern SpongeBob bashing is what does well. But I'm going to try to do a more, as I call it, academic thumbnail that just says a close look at science fiction in SpongeBob. And it was like, of the thumbnail test, there were 3 different thumbnails. That one was 20%, and the one that won was like 37%. You know, I showed it on a stream, the results. It was something like that. And it's at that point where I have to make a choice, where I have to be like, okay, calling this a modern SpongeBob Doesn't Understand Science Fiction video, like, It's true. You know, I think modern SpongeBob did produce poorer science fiction episodes. It's not clickbait because it is saying exactly what
I
I feel
agree for
about
the record.
yeah, what I say about what I say about, you know, the state of the show as it is. And by wrapping it up in that how did you put it? Wrapping it up in that
Dressing it up, what you said works too. Wrapping it up, dressing it up, the presentation of the video on the front end, of it.
Yeah, yeah. That has now brought in more viewers who now can appreciate the original video itself, which was completely unchanged from my original thought. You know, the original video is still a look at science fiction. It still teaches the audience about how science fiction works as a genre, how a show like SpongeBob can use science fiction, and it made that become it's one of my it's in the top 10 of my most viewed videos on the channel. It was a very successful one. Yeah.
It was a banger video for you.
Thank you.
And I don't think you did anything wrong because like let's rewind a little. How many hours do you think you put into making that video?
That one, let's see, between me, my fiance does a good amount of the edits, so I'd have to ask her what her hours were. But generally, my contribution to an average 15 to 20-ish minute video from writing to recording to editing would be between 8 to 10 hours, depending on it. Usually if it goes to 30 minutes, 35 minutes, it'll be like a 12-hour commitment.
That's a full days of work, dude. If you worked a full-time job, that'd be a full days of work. And also, like, that's not even factoring in the edits, right? So to give you guys an idea, I want you to imagine right now, like you went and made a video of something that you were passionate about and you put time and effort into it. You're gonna want to optimize that video to get the most clicks possible while still having integrity. I think the problem with some of our competitor channels, you guys will notice I'll use business terminology like that because, like I said, I have a marketing background, right? Like that's my job outside of this is marketing, right? But like, it's not like we're going to completely have no integrity like some of the competitor channels and just lie, right? Like Sponge Truths will, you know what I mean? But we have to optimize our content, guys, so that people click it and watch it. You know, it's just a part of the game. I hate saying it like that. If you want to do YouTube and you want to do it right, you do have to play the game a little bit, which sounds kind of like fucked, but it's just how YouTube works, especially if you're going to put hours into making content. You know what I mean? It's just how it works, unfortunately.
And like for guys like us, like making this our job is why we can do it more, you know? Like that's like, so like it's not always the complete, you know, and this is another way I was talking earlier about how these AI channels, these Sponge Truths, or even just like content farms that aren't really, you know, like content farms were, you know, I have a big Watch Mojo stream. Watch Mojo's been around before AI.
Oh my gosh.
You know, Cinema Sins,
the king of content mills.
Yeah,
fucking
like
Watch
these
Mojo.
things.
Oh my gosh.
These things almost, you know, everyone always raises an eyebrow. Everyone always thinks that someone's trying to work them over. You know, whenever I watch any sort of new channel, I'm always thinking like, is this channel just trying to work me over? Are they just trying to get my view, trying to get this? And, you know, like you think that with everything under, you know, under capitalism and all that. Like, it's
dude,
like,
especially
you know,
under SpongeBob on YouTube right now. It's like just so hot to make these AI SpongeBob channels right now. But yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. For sure. So let's discuss some of our antagonists. So we've viewers of the Jackson Finale podcast are aware of the Joker to my Batman, Sponge Truths. You know.
Oh my
now,
gosh.
what is your Lex Luthor cartoon, Corey?
I would say cartoonology is one that really irks me. And then Sponge Truths is also like the next one that I would say is definitely Sponge Truths is just really bad because that channel's really big at this point, right? Yeah. So it's at a point where like if you're somebody who isn't super familiar with content farms, my voice cracked so hard right there. But if you're not familiar with content farms and AI, there are a lot of people, guys, especially like millennials, right, that are like maybe 32 or older that are not even going to realize that Sponge Truths is just straight up slop, like straight up slop. And it's very frustrating, you know, seeing all these channels come in because, like, I'll give you an example. In my experience, I feel like a big reason why a lot of people will get sussed out because of me is my own actions, but also because of all of these fucking AI channels and content mill channels, that it makes it kind of hard to figure out who's a bad actor or not. So you're like, who's my Lex Luthor? I'd say just fucking ChatGPT and what's the voiceover one? Like Life
11
Labs,
Labs,
or
I think.
11 Labs.
That's
Yes.
what people keep saying for me. Yeah. Yeah. You know,
Yes.
Sponge Truths changed their voice back recently. Was the whole thing.
Is it so did they change I was going to say voice actors, but did they change AI models? Is that what they did?
So it was odd. Like, I noticed it. Someone commented on it. They were like, "I love how Jackson was genuinely aghast that Sponge Truths changed their voice." It's funny how. So Sponge Truths had at the very beginning a voice that sounded more AI, and then I think AI voices progressed, and I guess like still even I don't know to this day is the Sponge Truths AI voice, is that still alleged, or do we like know? Because we know Cartoonology is because of the whole let me rewrite for for you.
Cartoonology is completely AI. It'd be impossible. Sorry to go off topic. Well, I'll let you continue. But I'm just saying it would be literally physically impossible, guys, to make content like that long at that rate. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, one of your longer videos, you did that one video where you watched like a bunch of Camp Coral, right?
All of Camp Coral, every episode.
And that was a very long video, but the format of that video kind of lent to the length, right? Whereas imagine if like like your regular content, right? Imagine making one of those, but it being 2 hours long, dude. Like, the amount of like rambling and filler you'd have to do to make it reach that length is literally insane. Like, it's not humanly possible, in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
unless you had like a full team.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be a full team. Like, I guess a writing team could maybe pull it off, but I just feel like you'd lose something. You know, I think with an editing team, like, that can up some stuff, but for me, like, you know, because I write my videos first draft to end. I'm the only writer. I go through and I do the whole thing, and that's actually the hardest part of my job right now is the writing. It's not even so much that it takes longer, because I think the editing still takes longer, but it's the I call it mental energy, the mental energy that it takes for me to for me to consider how is my point getting across to the audience, and to do that with the Camp Coral video was insane, especially because I was, taking notes on the show, and then I would go back and I'd have to like parse what my notes were. I'd have to rewatch some episodes because like time would go by.
Would be brutal, because you're giving every episode a fair look as well. Like, it would be brutal. And one thing, just to add to the point you're making, this is sometimes when I talk with people who work more conventional jobs, right? Sometimes when I talk to them, the one thing they don't understand with YouTube is exactly what you just said, which is mental energy. So say I worked at like a factory, guys. I could go in there every day like a zombie and physically get the job done. But this YouTube content, it requires me to like use my brain, and that can actually get like really exhausting. I feel like we have a limited amount of that creative or like mental energy in a week. And once it's depleted, I'm sure you've been in this position before. It's not even fun to make content anymore at that point. So I totally agree with you that like sometimes for me, the editing part, and for the record on Cartoon Corey, I do have an editor that assists now. When that channel started, I was doing all of the editing for a long period of time, and I still do like a bulk of editing, but we also have an editor that helps. But for me, like, once that voiceover and scripting part is done, the editing part's fun. It's the scripting part that really actually takes a toll on you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really relate to that. Yeah, for sure. Back to the Sponge Truths voice change. So the Sponge Truths voice change. So at first it was a more AI soundingly voice. And then, because I allege that Sponge Truths using an AI voice, I guess it's not confirmed. But then there was another one that was sounded a little more human, but I think still sounds very AI-y. And it even tried to do like almost an accent. Like, it would say like a boot, you know, like kind of like a
Yeah.
like almost like a Canadian-ish thing where it's like, oh, if it says something in the way that you wouldn't expect it to always say like that, I feel like that's a part of like the trick, you know, like if you hear someone
Yes.
say, you know, because like the more common way of hearing it is about, so when you hear a boot, which is a way that people say about, you know, but it just makes people think it's more real,
It's
is what I always thought about the other SpongeJuice voice. But then a few videos recently, they just changed it back to the first one, to the earlier voice. And the reason I bring this up is that you mentioned how there are people who they watch it and they don't know that it's slop. They don't know that it's AI. There's comments on the Sponge Truths videos, the more recent ones, that will say, bring back the old narrator, bring back the,
Yes.
why did you change your voice, Sponge? And they just
think
like
it's
don't
a
know.
real person. Yeah, they
And
think it's a real person.
And a part of it is that Sponge Truths definitely deletes comments that say they're AI. I think Ava tested this, but I don't want to say for sure that he did because I don't fully remember it. But there's no way that on a channel like that has such a reputation for being AI, that there's not a couple people who've seen my streams who comment on their videos, hey, why are you AI or whatever, you know, like it just
Keep in mind, you can also like blacklist words in studio, right? So like Sponge Truths probably has like every term that would possibly come up in a comment of like accusing him blacklisted. That way, if somebody does comment something like AI content mail, it just automatically doesn't even go up. He might not even be deleting comments. He might just have it super automated where any comment that comes in is just automatically goes to the where you have to, you know, when you have to approve comments.
Yeah, I've seen that a
goes to,
couple
like,
times.
Yeah, where you have to approve it. I'm pretty sure that's what happens when you blacklist those words. So that's probably what he's doing. I mean, he might be deleting them too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, maybe if they're more specific, you know, all that sort of
yes.
stuff. All right, I think that this is a great time for us to discuss Cartoon Corey grapple lore. So let's hear your story on grapple, you know, how it started, how it ended, all that sort of stuff. You have the floor.
Yes. Absolutely. So grapple is one that has been so frustrating because a lot of people have a lot of major misconceptions on it. And when I talked to you about it, it was hilarious because you were like, holy, like there's a lot more to this. So do you want me to just talk about how I got involved with it and just the whole story?
Yeah,
you want
I'd
me to
say
give
the story, you know, just the whole story from
do it.
beginning to end.
So as you guys know from the stream I did, I started doing video game content on YouTube. It's kind of funny. In your last stream, I seen some people thinking like my first channel was AI, my Skull Kid channel, which was me just my first ever YouTube channel, and I started making videos about video games. From there, I seen that other people were doing freelance video editing. So like for me at that time, I was working like full time and then also doing YouTube at the same time, trying to make it happen. And I seen that I could do freelance video editing as a job. So on my Twitter, I started advertising that I do freelance video editing, and then I got contacted. And I don't know if I should say their name. I might not say their name for legal purposes. Like Jackson, I'll tell you after stream. I'll tell you their whole name. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say it on stream. You know.
Yeah, anything
but I got
you
contacted.
feel like is protected privacy
Yes.
stuff, we understand. Yeah, you're all good.
I got contacted by this dude who owned a company that was called like Hypelit was the name of the company. And Hypelit owned like 25 different YouTube channels, like all like different topics, right? And I got hired on as a video editor. So the first thing I came on and I was editing for this channel called The Juicy was what it was called. And I was just editing for them. And then I eventually got moved up to Grapple. When I got moved over to Grapple as a freelance video editor, I wasn't doing any voiceover yet. I didn't have any control over anything. I was just editing. When I moved over there, one of the topics we did was mistakes in like cartoons. Okay. And when I did the SpongeBob one, I specifically did seasons like 1, 2, and 3. And I was like, holy shit, this is actually a lot of fun. I'm a millennial, guys. I'm 30. So for me, I grew up watching seasons 1, 2, and 3. And when I made that video, it was like the biggest nostalgia hit I've ever had in a while, where I was like, holy shit, like I forgot how much, you know what I mean? I love this. So I pitched to them the idea, and that video did really well. So I pitched to them the idea. I was like, we should talk about SpongeBob more. You know what I mean? This was earlier. There wasn't as many SpongeBob creators at this time. And then they like fucking
What
ran with
if
that.
I could interrupt you, what year was this?
Yeah. This would have been around like 2019.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 2019, maybe 2020 when this happened.
Gotcha.
The change to SpongeBob content would have happened in 2020 for sure. It was 2020 for sure. But yeah, once that video did well, they started running with it. They hired on like more creators. They hired on other voiceover people. They hired on people that do scripting, like, and it would be like there's nothing wrong with this, but they would outsource people from like countries that aren't as that are more poverty stricken, you know what I mean? So they could get cheap labor. Like they would intentionally, like this guy would literally tell me like, we're going to hire a bunch of Indian writers because it's going to save money. And this was a nightmare to work with. I'm not going to lie to you, editing these videos, because the videos would just be completely inaccurate sometimes, and I'm editing them. And it's a job. Remember guys, like I have to pay my bills and pay my rent. You know what I mean? I have to do my job. One person mentioned the subscribe for Spider thing. That was an example of that was the company. Like that was they did that on all of their channels. Where at the start of the video they'd be like subscribe, and you know what I mean? Like they would do that at the beginning of every single video. The SpongeBob
to
one,
explain the
they
context
did
of that a little more, just in case people don't fully get the reference. So,
go ahead.
I mean, I can explain it because I've seen it too, where Grapple would do this thing. I know this from the Ava channel, the Ava video where he covered it. Where in the early part of the video, they'd be like, subscribe to this channel or a spider will crawl into your mouth, you know, like, and sometimes, you know, like there are, you know, other versions of that, but like, Ava mentioned it as like it's a way to get, you know, kids to subscribe. But a commenter actually mentioned when I talked about the spider thing that can actually be kind of distressing if there's someone who has like diagnosed OCD. I know people throw around the term OCD, but apparently people with diagnosed OCD, that could actually really screw with someone's head. But yeah, it's a ploy to like get more subscribers. Like a more honest channel would just be like, oh, hey, like subscribe. I mean, even you have your thing where it's like subscribe for a Krabby Patty, you know?
And my channel art, yeah.
You know, it's not particularly the kind of thing that I would do myself.
It is cringe. We can all agree it's cringe. We can all, I think chat, we can all collectively agree that it is cringe. Like, I will say their entire purpose of doing it is that Grapple's core audience was younger, like kids. When I say kids, I wouldn't say like kids like 5 or 6, but more like kids preteens, you know what I mean? And the intent was that like kids tend to be scared of spiders. So the whole thing was like, subscribe or the spider's gonna get you, which is very manipulative, you know? So obviously I did it and I'm not proud of it, but I was also just doing my job, guys. You know what I mean? I'm a video editor. You know, I'm an artsy person. I was doing video editing and it was my job. And I don't know if anybody here does video editing. It's kind of hard to get freelance video editing jobs.
Oh yeah.
Like it's genuinely really hard to get a gig. So I had that gig and it's like if I worked at Walmart, you know what I mean? And they were doing some sketchy thing. It's like, there's only so much I could do. Yeah. And I, as a matter of fact, am the reason that we stopped doing that, because I explained to them that that's more of like a net negative, because sure, it might result in a couple of kids subscribing, but it really does just like make people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not like your channel, you know? So yeah. It's crazy, man. And also, by the way, like the spider thing wasn't only me doing it. Like there were other commentators. Like at that time, there was like 4 or 5 different guys that were making videos. That's why if you watch, I'm going to say his name wrong. You always correct me, which is good. It's not Awi. I don't know how it's pronounced that way, but Ava,
like
Ava.
Yeah, like Ava. Think of it like AVUH would be the phonetic way of spelling it. He said it in one of his videos. I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm an actual,
I know.
Yeah, so but he doesn't say it often. He said it in like one video where he said the pronunciation.
His video, if you watch it, there's multiple voice actors in that video.
Yep.
Like it's not me. So it's like I wasn't even the first person to do the spider thing. I just came in, they were doing it, and you know. But anyways, they started going in the direction of SpongeBob. It really got out of hand where I would make like the SpongeBob mistake videos and the Easter egg videos, but then there were like tons of other videos being made. Like for example, they made this one video that was SpongeBob theories, but what the writer did is the writer just went went and like ripped off like multiple other theories from other creators and passed it off as like a listicle video about theories, right? So his video is accurate. The one thing I will say, and some people may remember this, is there is a period of Grapple where I got more control and then I was the only creator on the channel. So I think like some people have an incorrect timeline. The way to view it is Grapple was straight up a content mill the entire time. You know what I mean? It started out with them mass hiring people and mass producing the content, but then they realized that the videos with me were performing the best. So there's like a year period where I'm the only person making content on the channel, and it was a lot more wholesome on the channel. And then near the ending, what happened is they wanted to convert everything over to AI. So they offered me like a couple of $1,000s to replicate my voice, to model my voice. I would have gotten like a percentage of the earnings. So pretty much I wouldn't have had to do anything anymore. Like they would have used my voice. I would have got a percentage of the ad revenue. But I said no, and I left. So, and that's, I don't, they're like, if you look at the videos near the ending, I'm not in them anymore. So they ended up replacing me again. And then the channel ended up getting taken down. But this is the biggest misconception, guys. The channel was not removed because of anything Grapple did. The channel got removed because on YouTube, when you have channels that are linked, right? So that company, Hypelit, owned multiple channels and they're all connected to one AdSense account. And what happened is one of their other channels got taken down, okay? And in YouTube policy, if one channel gets taken down, all of your other channels get removed, all of them, right? So to be clear, Grapple was removed, but Grapple wasn't removed because it itself like did anything wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like we never dealt with copyright. Anytime we did have copyright, like that, they won, like that company was aggressive. They had like attorneys and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like these people, guys, it's usually some like tech bro or some dude who's already in finance that has a lot of money to invest into YouTube and take this very mechanical, this very like watch mojo approach where it's like we're going to mass produce, we're going to upload as much as possible. It doesn't matter if every video is a banger. It just matters that we upload constantly. And that's the whole method of those channels. But yeah, Grapple was not removed because of anything Grapple did. Grapple just got removed due to association with other YouTube channels that one company owned. Just to be clear on that.
Do you and I wasn't know what the copyright strike channel was?
So it was a channel that talked about reality TV, and here's the fucking funny part, right? And this is Karma, all right? So they owned like 25 of these channels, and one of the channels got 3 copyright strikes, but because they owned so many, they didn't even know. Like one day I like woke up and then Grapple and all the other channels were gone. Like I just woke up one day and everything I had worked on for the past like 10 years was completely gone. And then I talked to them and they didn't even know what the issue was. It took them a week to like figure out that it was this one other channel. So that's the karma of you owning 25 channels, is that you can't even keep up with like what's going on and the health of the channels. And it resulted in them losing everything. Like, and also just to add, when that channel got taken down, I didn't get paid for anything, guys. So this was and I'm not gonna look for sympathy here, but I really want people to understand that was a very like dark time for me, guys. Like I lost everything. I have a girlfriend that I live with, and I had to like get a regular job for a while. Like this like really screwed up my life. Like a lot, and they screwed me over. They didn't pay me any of the money that I was owed for the past 2 months when the channel got taken down. So I wasn't able to prepare for it. And if I'm rambling too much, let me know. I'm really getting in deep with this one. Yeah. I want you guys to understand too, they really milked me for like a long time because I didn't understand how profitable YouTube could be. And I'm sure, Jackson, you maybe didn't even realize until you started doing it that YouTube actually is very profitable, guys. There's kind of been this lie sold to us as viewers by a lot of YouTubers that you don't make a lot of money on YouTube. When it's like, if you're getting like relatively decent views, you can make money on YouTube. And they kind of made me think that they weren't making money. So I was making like $70 per video, guys. Like those videos videos that were going up on, yes, like 70 bucks per video. I was getting ripped off, but to me, it was like, this is, imagine
And
you're
they had,
me.
if I could cut you off for just a second, and
Absolutely.
they had how
Absolutely.
many subscribers at the time that they were paying you $70?
We got them. I got them to like 500K subscribers.
My
Like when I moved over to that channel, they had under 100K when I got moved over to that channel. And the SpongeBob stuff is what really pushed it. And like, I'm not even tooting my horn. Once it switched to just being me, and I was like the main person on the channel that I did not own, to clarify. Once it switched over to me, that channel did like the best it ever did. And they would tell me like, it's not super profitable. We're not making as much money. And like, I was just getting strung along into doing this for like 7 years thinking I was getting a good deal. Wow. And now that I've started Cartoon Corey, I realize like how much they were really milking me and ripping me off. The last thing I want to add too, with them, I had an exclusivity thing in my contract with them that made it that I couldn't work on other channels. So also during that whole time, I couldn't build up a portfolio so that like when Grapple got taken down, I could go and apply to other jobs. Pretty much my entire resume got taken down because like, as you guys have seen, a lot of that content is like lost media now. Yeah. There's only the archived stuff and that one video covering it that's like left. Right. So because of that, you know, and one thing I want to clear up too, some of the videos on Cartoon Corey and like the last like couple of months of Grapple, there was a lot of videos that I made that was not used because they wanted to switch over to AI. So I repurposed some of that stuff from the last couple of months on like the first couple of Cartoon Corey videos because it was never uploaded to the channel. You know what I mean? Like, because they wanted to go in the AI direction. So there's a bunch of videos I made that basically got scrapped. So like I took that like a year later, and that's when I eventually started Cartoon Corey. And to really make you guys understand it, view Cartoon Corey as me taking back like my thing. This was like my thing. Like I'm not trying to be arrogant, but this not all of you guys maybe like it. You guys maybe wouldn't watch, you know, SpongeBob mistake videos or Easter egg videos, but that was my niche, guys, that I really like was an OG of that niche and put all this time into building it, and I lost it all. So Cartoon Corey, the thumbnails, right? See how the thumbnails are like Grapple? It's me kind of taking like my thing back that I got milked for like years by this fucking company, like years. So I'm getting frustrated, but it's just
you're
like
good.
I'm like traumatized from it, to be honest with you.
Well, thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. That is incredible insight to this stuff. You know, these issues with these, it's beyond content farms, content factories. You know, like
yes.
These
absolutely.
You know, these I don't know if it would be considered a private equity, if that would be the term, but it's just
but dude, idea. That's the type of guys that do it though. It's like that guy who owned the 25 channels is like rich, dude. The one time I realized that he was like lying to me about earnings is, do you guys know what a Rolls Royce is? It's like it's a car, and in the ceiling of the car, it has like this star design in it. If anyone here listens to rap, it's very commonly like referenced in rap. It's like a flex. It's a flex that I've got like a Rolls Royce and I got stars on the roof. Okay. The time I found out that they were milking me is he texted me, and I guess he didn't turn off iMessage. So when he texted me, it showed his photo and his actual name. So another thing, he lied to me about his name for like 4 years. So I can say his fake name. He said his name to me was Jeremy, but then once he sent me that message, I realized his name was not Jeremy. It's a completely different name. And that photo showed him in a Rolls Royce or whatever with the stars in the roof. And he was like posing like a fucking rapper, a fucking cornball. So that was when I realized that dude was like rich. He's just milking me. It's like lying to me. He was making me think like they're making peanuts for the content, and I'm lucky to be making this $70. Like I'm lucky to be getting paid. And in my mind, guys, you have to understand, I come from working like retail and working in food service. When I started YouTube, I was working at like a Caribbean restaurant making jerk chicken. Okay. So me, I'm like, I get to sit at home and like make content about SpongeBob and edit. And I'm very passionate about editing. And it was worth it to make the $70. You know what I mean? Like that's better than doing my other job. So I'm just really highlighting how these companies do that. Like understand some of these other channels you look at, like Sponge Truths is probably the same thing. It's probably some rich dude who's hired editors. The editors on Sponge Truth are probably genuine people. Like they might be. They might not be. I don't fucking know, right?
I actually
but they might be.
Once had an editor of Sponge Truth reach out to me to want to work for me. I didn't really speak to them further. It was very early in a lot of this content farm. It might have been before I ever really examined Sponge Truth. So yeah, there is an editor that I once like spoke to very briefly, who I didn't end up hiring because I work for Spongers.
Yes, yeah, I don't
there is
blame
a
you for
real
that.
genuine editor, someone who's like, I'm just
Yes.
trying, and it just sounded like someone who's just trying to make a living.
Trying to get
Just
work,
saying,
yes,
yeah.
doing editing, right? They probably are on Fiverr. They're probably on like those platforms where it can help you find jobs. Sponge Truths hired them, is probably underpaying them drastically. They're probably not even from America or Canada, which when I say that might sound like weird, but the reason I highlight that, guys, you have to understand currency is different in other countries.
Yeah.
So say right now, if you were to hire Indian writers, when people bring up, oh, they're outsourcing Indian writers, right? They're not insulting Indian people. It's that Indian writers can take less money because currency is more for them there. And sometimes they're desperate, right? Especially if it's a country that is more poverty, which shows how disgusting and slimy these people are. Like that Jeremy guy would literally say that to me. Like, we're going to hire writers because it'll make our profit margins higher and intentionally higher. It's not like they're bad at what they're doing. They're just foreign and there's a language barrier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to.
And you pointing that out, you're standing up for those people.
Something that somebody asked is they were saying, why would he lie about his name? What does that even get him? It's because this is where we can dive into some content mill stuff. You guys have to understand, content mill is a community word. The actual term in that industry is called YouTube automation. Right now, I want you guys want to see some nasty shit? Go on, not actually nasty, but despicable stuff. Go on Twitter or X, and I want you to search YouTube automation. And this is going to open up an entire rabbit hole for you guys, because this is why people kind of struggle to figure out this stuff, is they use the word content mill. Like Jeremy, my previous boss, that's not his actual name, so I think it's fine for me to use that. He wouldn't walk around being like, I run a content mill. He would say he runs investment channels. Think of that term, investment channels. Or he would do what's called YouTube automation, right? So with him, he had like a YouTube automation empire, and he was also known as like a YouTube guru. When you guys look into YouTube automation, you're gonna see a ton of these fucking douchebag, rich tech bro dudes that are YouTube automation experts, and they sell courses. That's what my boss would do. He would sell courses teaching you how to do YouTube automation. So the reason he hid his name to me is so I couldn't see who he actually was and see that he's making a ton of money and is this big. Do you get what I mean? It cuts off like the paper trail to his empire. Does that make sense? Because somebody asked like why he would hide his name. I'm just explaining. That's why they do that. That's why Sponge Truths doesn't have like a name attached to it.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want you to be able to do this. This paper trail might not be the right word. You know what I mean? Like,
No, that's a good word.
Yeah, like they want to hide you being able to find out who they are. The biggest slip up is the production team, is like the editors and writers. That's why, see how you found that editor. So just as a tip for you, when you're going after these guys, you know, we got the bounty hunter over here. When you're going after them, the way to actually really find out what's going on is to go after the teams. Is not going after them, is to really humanize the teams. Like that video editor that contacted you, humanize him and talk to him. He's the one who's going to actually be able to give you like sauce and information on how they're running their operations. So
yeah,
that's
always generally my attitude towards like, you know, like the workers and like these people who, because it's tough out there, you know, like to get any sort of job, you know, it gets so competitive. And these people, these evil, wretched, like literally, like I was being funny earlier saying like, oh, who's your Lex Luthor?
Oh,
It's
you're
literally
literally
Lex
that.
Luthor. Like
You're literally that.
if Superman
You're
existed, Superman would have some kind of rivalry with this dude. Like,
yes,
you know,
you wouldn't fuck with them at all, dude.
yeah.
You would not. They're like fucking Sith lords, dude. I was like a Padawan for a little bit. And I like broke out. I was like, I'm not doing this shit. And I got the fuck out of it, which is very rewarding now, guys, because I run my own channel now. That's why I'm so happy to do this. But the beauty of it, guys, and the reason why I'm very defensive about the AI thing is because it's like I finally have my own channel now, guys. Like I was an editor making $70 a day now. Now, like I'm gonna be super transparent with you. I'm able to make like a little bit like $150, $100 a day sometimes with my own content. You know what I mean? And to give you guys an idea, to show you that I'm different than my old fucking Sith Lord, is my editor gets a percentage of channel earnings. So my editor, right, who again doesn't edit every video. So to be clear, like I'm still in the out there on the front line editing videos. Like on my wrestling channel, I edit every single video. But my editor gets 25% of the ad revenue on the channel, which I think, Jackson, you can even understand that that's like he gets paid for the video. He gets paid like $150 USD for each video, the 20-minute video, with me assisting a lot, which is a very good rate for that.
That's a
and then
very
on
good
top
deal,
of Yes, and then on top of that, he gets an ad revenue percentage every month. Even if he only edited 2 videos in a month, say he edited 2 and I edited 8, I still give him 25% of the ad revenue because I don't want him in the same fucking position as me where he's slaving away growing my channel. And the last thing, I tell him all the time that he should start another channel. I tell him all the time that you should not do what I did and just be this editor for me. You should go and start your own channel and build your own thing while also working for me so you can get to a place where you don't even need to edit anymore. Right? Like that's what I want for these people, but my team at least, my
literally
one editor.
the opposite of them trying to like contractually say you have to only work for this channel.
Yes,
like
the exclusivity clause, dude. Dude, one time I got contacted by another YouTube automation guy, and I told the Jeremy guy, and dude, he like flipped out. He got like so fucking worried, and he didn't even want me talking to that guy. He was like, he's gonna understand all of our strategy and our secrets, and I'm like, bro, like you're not even. And the last thing I want to add to that, Jeremy guy had no idea how YouTube worked or like even like anything about SpongeBob, like anything. Like, he's just some tech bro. He would talk to me about like crypto and NFTs and shit like that. And I'm like, bro, I don't like this. I don't fucking like, guys, I like play like in a punk rock band. Like I'm not into any of that shit. I will say the only thing is, and this will probably help you guys understand my content a little bit more. Again, I have a marketing background, guys, and I did work on Grapple for so long that I do have like a strategic sense for YouTube. You know what I mean? So there is things that's why I'm doing the sleep content thing is I'm being strategic about it, but I am doing it in a wholesome way. And I do have an announcement because this is something that I think would make it a lot easier is I'm launching a second channel, and on the second channel, I'm not doing compilations. I'm going to just post the 20-minute videos, and then I'm going to make compilations on Cartoon Quarry, which I think is how most channels do that, right? They'll have their main channel where they upload normal videos, like 20-minute videos, and then they'll make compilations out of their videos. So moving forward, I'm not only going to be making sleep content, I'm going to make like normal videos with thumbnails hyper focused on the topic that I'm talking about. And then I'm going to have the sleep content, which I think will make people feel a lot more better about it. Hopefully, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds good. And you found your way there from the experimentation. I mean, if you look at the journey of how I found my way to what I'm doing with this, if you go on Jackson Finelli podcast, if you look at the earliest videos on that channel, it's me playing video games. You know, I just even left them up. I didn't even take them down. I didn't need to. Because I was doing gaming at first, you know, and I was finding like this whole thing where it's like, oh, how do I like collab? You know, I did like a shorts channel with gaming. Like, you know, you find your way in this crazy world of
you have your podcast channel, like you're very strategic with it, but you still have integrity, right? Like you're not going to lose your integrity just to get clicks, but you are going to do what you can. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You're going to do what you can to get views. One other thing I want to address really quickly, by the way, if it's okay, is the compilation thing. So I want people to kind of understand what I do, what I was doing, because I'm not going to do this anymore. My videos, every single compilation I upload has 30 minutes to an hour of brand new content at the beginning of it. So like, it'll be like an hour to 30 minutes. So if it's a mistake video, it's an hour. And then if it's an Easter egg video, it'll be 30 minutes of new content. And then after that, it'll be a compilation of different mistakes and Easter eggs I've covered. So just so people understand, there was an instance where I messed up. And what happened is there was an Easter egg, and then a couple moments later, the same Easter egg video, the same Easter egg happened again. That was just a mistake. Like if you go through all my content, that's not a common mistake that happens at all. Just because I seen somebody comment on one of your videos before wanting you to question me on that, so I'm just letting them know. That's what happened there. I just made a mistake one time. That's if you were to go audit my videos, like you'll notice there's a lot of variety between them. So. Yeah,
makes sense. So yeah, because I remember that was like the thing that I was the most skeptical of at first, and you've explained it so well that like it's really just a way of trying to find your way through it. Yeah, the whole like because it's hard to tell. You know, at like I was even trying to figure that out when I first went over it. I was like, wait, so it's like because the first thing that you see is you see 2-hour videos that are posted like 3 days apart. And it's like, you know, even like what you said about cartoonology, like how is it humanly possible to create videos this long every 3 days? And it's like, well, one possibility is that they have some kind of compilations. Like that was a thing that I was trying to like figure out. And it is very difficult that it's not immediately apparent. At the same time.
Go ahead.
At the same time, though, to compare it to the difficulty of navigating the YouTube meta and putting yourself out there, you know, and my thumbnails have to say this didn't work or modern SpongeBob doesn't understand, all that sort of stuff. There are very specific things you have to do to market yourself to the point where it's a net positive the way that you've been doing it, you know, where it makes it like,
thank you.
You know, you know, and if someone's actually watching you that dedicated, you know, like I can look at it all the time and be like, oh, this is the first 30 minutes are this, and then the rest is a compilation. Well, if anyone is actually consistently watching you, they're going to pick up on that just fine. You know, like it's not going to mess anyone up. And if they are actually watching it to fall asleep, well, in the first 30 minutes, you know, let's say they fall asleep, well, then that actually might be the perfect way to structure it.
But to add to what you were saying, you did give me that criticism and it made me think about it. And you were right about that. I think with my content, it's not apparent enough from first glance that that's what I'm doing. Like that's just a fact, right? Like I put myself in that position. So that's why I'm going to be doing the second channel where I'm going to do what 90% of other creators do, where it's like people will probably start to know me for my 20-minute deep dives into Easter eggs and mistakes, right? But then I'm also going to make the sleep content and the compilations, but I'm going to upload those 20-minute, 25-minute ones first, which I think will help make it way more apparent that this is a compilation. And maybe I'll add in brackets like compilation to every title, like every single title in brackets. So when you look at it in the title, it's telling you, because I think that was a very good criticism from your end. And that was why that's why your deep dive was good, because your deep dive actually let me see it from the perspectives of somebody who doesn't know all this fucking context that I know, right? I have to view it from the perspective of someone like you, who at first glance at my channel, it does look like I'm just making 2-hour-long videos. And then you're going to ask yourself, how is he doing that? Well, there's definitely something fishy going on here. So that's my fault, and I'm going to improve with that. And one thing to add to you, if you guys look at my channel in the past 2 weeks, I've reduced uploads. So I'm probably only going to upload 2 times a week over there now as well. Just because I'm very lucky that despite what happened with Grapple, that I've been fucking blessed here that I have an audience, and I should not be milking the sleep thing. I don't need to be uploading sleep compilations every other day. That's milking it a little bit. Right, guys? I think, see, I'm giving myself some criticism. Uploading a compilation every other day is kind of pushing it. Like, I don't need to do that. I'm going to do it like 2 times a week now. And you guys can hold me to that for the record. So.
Well, I'm happy for you that it's going well too, because that must have been devastating, losing a job like that abruptly with the like Grapple thing. Because I've only recently gone full time as a YouTuber. I've been full time for about 7 months now. Before that, I was a photographer for
Mhm.
3 years. Um, just, and trying to build the channel like during that time for 2 of those
Same
3
time.
years was building up, doing game. And I was, I didn't even start with the SpongeBob cartoon TV show things. Like I was doing gaming stuff and just found that was a bit oversaturated, and also that I didn't love doing gaming stuff as much as I love talking about TV shows, and as much as I now love talking about just content in general, even with like sort of things like that. But yeah, it's
Dude, you get it more than anyone. If you were a freelance photographer, you understand the freelance editing grind, right? Like it's not like a normal job where you always have like assured work there. You kind of have to go out and find that work.
Yep.
So like losing that job after being so comfortable doing it for so long was very like I don't want people to feel sorry for me, but literally traumatizing, guys. Like if you talk to my girlfriend, that caused like a major decline in like my mental health. Like I felt like I lost everything. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, what am I going to tell my friends and family that know I do that? You know what I mean? It was very, very difficult. So I'm really happy to be on the other side. And one other thing too, we should talk about is the, you might've been planning to bring this up, is the profile picture, my avatar.
Yeah. Let's address the I actually, let's talk about the profile picture. So the profile picture was, made by someone. Yeah. At the end, I almost feel a little bad because at the end I said like with the profile picture, cause I like compared it to, a AI Family Guy generator thing or whatever. And at the end, like they were talking about it and I was so tired at the end. And I think I said something like where I was like, I don't care about the profile picture. And I kind of like let it go, but let's discuss, the profile picture. Cause I have more energy now and I care now. And we're going to show some of, the profile picture here.
We got the receipts, man. Like, so look, this is one where I will say, I think a lot of everybody's assessment is like accurate, but I think this one is a good example to understand that unfortunately, guys, like AI has gotten so good that I don't think a lot of us can actually like just commonly detect it all the time. There are times where it's so blatantly obvious, but I will say, all right, a lot of you guys thought that this thing was AI, but this is not AI. We have the project files with every single layer of everything, and I got 10 different poses made for this avatar. So like if you watch my videos, the avatar will pop up and it's not like just one pose. He has like super different poses. And I see somebody saying that it looks suspicious, but like, I'm not gonna lie, bro, that's like a you problem. It's a profile picture. I personally.
And it's a Family Guy art style. Like the Family Guy art style is simple. And that is something that an AI generator can do a lot better. And I think in seeing all these different poses, I think this is what can show us the difference, is why, because what I say a lot is like, there's a lot of issues with like when I talk about the no villains are safe narrator. I'm very sure that the no villains are safe narrator is not AI. Lots of people have said, oh, I'm a voiceover person. The no villains are safe narrator. It's probably someone they hired.
Let's dive into that even more after the avatar, because I do want to talk about the difference between non-AI content farms and AI content farms. So remind us, guys, so we don't forget about that one, because that'll be a good one to talk about. But exactly what you said. I agree with you. Because Family Guy is so simple to replicate, I understand why people would expect it to be in that style. The reason why it's in Family Guy style, guys, is because I'm a human and I'm not a fish. So the thing with SpongeBob is, if you actually look, there's actually very rare occurrences where human characters are shown in SpongeBob. Like Santa Claus has been shown in one of these SpongeBob, and this is how you guys know I know ball. All right, like I think there was one time Santa Claus appeared and elves have appeared, right? But it's very rare that you actually see human characters in SpongeBob. So because of this, like I wanted a cartoon profile picture. I talked to the dude about the about doing a cartoon one, and then this is what we got, right? Like if you were to style it off of SpongeBob, I'd have to be like an incidental. Like in my opinion, there just isn't really good reference examples of humans in the SpongeBob art style, in my opinion. All of them are.
It also does, if you were a SpongeBob fish, it it doesn't completely railroad you into SpongeBob, but it does say, because I know you discussed on your live stream that I looked at in the previous streamception, where you said that you might cover Family Guy, you might cover The Simpsons, and the Family Guy art style is such a standard, oh, this is like a cartoon guy, whereas that one can apply to multiple shows, whereas if you were a SpongeBob fish, it's like, oh, you're a SpongeBob guy.
Yes, exactly. And I do plan on talking about other cartoons. Like, it's just SpongeBob is just the one, because I did SpongeBob for so long with Grapple Guys. Like, I just know ball. My voice cracked hard. I just fucking know ball with SpongeBob, guys. Like, there's times when I'm talking about SpongeBob content, I just know it. You know what I mean? I just know because I've covered it so much, especially doing the trivia, where it's like, if we were to talk about random, like, season 1, 2, or 3 episodes, I could probably name mistakes to you, like, off the fly, right? So that's the big reason why I'm doing SpongeBob, but I am going to do some Family Guy, just because with that company, they did, like, at one point they launched a Family Guy channel that I did do a little bit of work on, that also got taken down when everything got taken down. And I had fun doing the Family Guy one, so I might do it. I like Family Guy, I'm not gonna lie. It's like not the best show, but you know,
I'm
it could be
actually
fun.
I'm working on a Family Guy video right now. I'm trying to Sorry.
Because I seen your
I'm trying to
Sneakers
use
O'Toole one.
Family Guy as a good springboard to not railroad me into being a SpongeBob channel. Family Guy has been I recently did. I had a Family Guy video pop off recently. My Sneakers O'Toole video. I went on that was like the big meme. Everyone was talking about the Sneakers O'Toole cutaway, and I just rode that wave and ended up making a video that I think really, really did well for me with that. So I got another Family Guy video coming out. At the time of this stream, it hasn't come out yet. It probably will be out by the time I do.
It's coming soon. With Family Guy, for me, like, the reason why the Sneakers O'Toole one is cool is, like, it's actually, to me, would be fun. And this is what I did on that Family Guy channel before it got taken down, is it's fun to talk about the more like side characters, like doing a video talking about Consuela, for example, would be like fun, or doing a video talking about like Mort and like how they write Mort would be like fun. You know what I mean? So yeah, I see what you're going for, and I think that'll be some good content.
So yeah, and the last thing with the profile picture, I mean, just look, I expanded it. Look at all these different layers. These are all the different layers. Like,
turn some of them on and off for me if you can.
Yeah.
So
look, see how they're
look
now you got no arms. You know, like this is precise putting stuff together. You know, like, and this is the value, you know, of a human-made avatar, is that there are all these different poses, these different expressions, you know, all that stuff. You know, if you're just looking at the one picture, you could be like, oh, does AI do this? It's simple art style, blah 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 blah. You know, but when you actually dive deep and all this sort of stuff, this is, you know, what I always talk about with AI is that it's not even so much that like it can replicate human stuff and like we should just ignore it. No, it literally just can't do stuff like this. Like, you know?
It cannot. Like, I burped a little, sorry, but it cannot. It wouldn't be able to do like 10 different designs like consecutively like that. You could maybe get like 2 or 3, but the continuity where, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I will say this is one, guys, where I want you to always be skeptical about AI, but I think like what's happened is because there's just so much AI content, we're all on edge, but you have to understand that it's like hard to tell. You can't just like listen to someone's script and immediately assume it's AI. Like art, I think it can be really, because you know what I mean? There is that really distinct AI style for art. Like you can tell, like, sometimes like millennials and boomers will use this art all the time where it's like, bro, how could you not fucking tell that this is AI? It's so blatantly AI. But like in the case of this profile, guys, if you see something like this again in the future, I would not just immediately jump to the conclusion that it's AI, even though I understand why. It's just only going to get worse from here as AI continues to develop and get even better. Because unfortunately, guys, there's going to be a day where it can make like fucking 10 consistent poses like that. It's going to happen. It's disgusting, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think something with the, and this is what I like try to preach, like when I do this stuff, because when I'm analyzing these AI channels, and you know what I'm noticing too, that I'm actually trying to drift away from a bit, because I keep getting comments that are like, can you look at this channel because I think it's AI, is a very common comment for me.
Yes.
And I get that that's like, you know, that's like the sneaky thing. You know, it's kind of like you know what it's kind of like? It's kind of like Scooby-Doo. How like at the hook of Scooby-Doo is that at the end they take the mask off and they go, "You're the lighthouse keeper." You know, that's the end of Scooby-Doo. And I think because that is such a strong formula, I think that is what people like. That's what people like to have, like, you know, but like it's so much not the main part of the discussion. Like whenever I've done any video I've done, whether it's Sponge Truce, whether it's this, it's not this is AI. Let's pull off the mask. It's the lighthouse keeper. That's not really the thing that I'm concerned with. The thing that I'm concerned with is how content affects people, how content is a part of our media landscape, and what sort of social good or social bad that a piece of content can provide. Like I got, let me think. I got one recently where they wanted me to look at some channel that I think is not AI. Like I just saw one that I thought was not AI, but I might still cover it because it just seems like an interesting channel in terms of like, okay, like this is, there might be some problems with this content, but I think it is generally good. And it even made me think even just how I even covered you is like, oh, like, should I maybe like look into how I cover some of these channels that I think are more good? Cause you know, like I'll make jokes where I'll be like, you know, people will sometimes say to me, they'll be like, yeah, why don't you cover like, you know, like LS Mark or cover like, you know, like cover these like big channels or something. And I'm like, because I wouldn't have that much to say. I'd just be like, oh yeah, this is like how like content is made, you know, like I want to, and it's not even so much that like, I want to cover channels that we have a lot to say about instead of me just going like, oh, here's why something is, here's why this works, you know, or whatever. Cause I think that could be kind of boring, but like with something like covering yours, that was so interesting is that there was a lot of just nuance to it. There was a lot of understanding, you know, where is the, what is the value to this content? Like, what is it? And me figuring that out on my own in real time, and me also understanding even some of my own biases. It's why I found that interesting. And I think that's a lot more interesting than just saying, is this AI? Is this AI? And I think we get so wrapped up in that. And it's good that we're wrapped up in that because we want to know that what we're watching is authentic, but
yes, and it's good to hold people like accountable and stuff too. But I think like this is a testament to what you do, and this isn't me just like kissing your ass. I think like a lot of, I said this at the beginning of the stream, right? I think it's really fun to kind of like call people out and like the drama of it. It's very, you know, there's lots of tea there, but you're really not doing it for that reason. And I can just tell you guys from my personal conversations that like, again, Jackson, if he really wanted to, right? Because like, I'm not that, me and you are around a similar size. You're doing a little bit better than me, but him milking this would have got him views, but he really chose to go the route of getting you guys a like conclusive answer. So I think like if anyone is qualified to be doing like investigative content like this, like it is you at this point. And I'm not saying this to kiss your ass. I think that this conversation and the research you did into this whole situation is literally a testament of that you give people the benefit of the doubt. So people like Sponge Truce, you should be worried because he'll call you out, but he'll also, you know, he's fair. Like he's fair with people who are not, you know, taking advantage of the system. So
I think like the biggest thing that I come up against like with AI is like in so many ways you really can't prove it. Like it is like, you know, because I was even saying with Sponge Truce before, I'm like allegedly, because like literally you got to be in the room with him, you know, and like there are tells. Like for example, Cartoonology literally had in a video, it said, "Let me rewrite that for you." Ava covered it. And now even that has plausible deniability. Like Cartoonology would be like, well, yes, we did use AI in that one video, and then it did. And then like we know that's not true because we know like it's obvious. But also that like
just so
in that sort of like litigious, you know, sort of, you know, Better Call Saul, Your Honor, you know, you don't sort of thing. Like you can't always know. So that's why I always like to be like, yeah, we don't know that no villains are safe is AI or not. Like, we don't know for sure, you know. But then at the same time, there are moments where you kind of flippantly have to be like, yeah, these AI channels will do this. Like one of my most recent podcasts is the one video every AI channel stole, and I referred to No Villains Are Safe as an AI channel, and I think that they deserve that. Like, I think that that's fine. I think that I know enough about No Villains Are Safe to just be like flippantly like AI channel, and then when I actually discuss it, I'm a little more nuanced. And I would not do that to a lot of other sorts of creators. Like, there does have to be a line where I do have to be like, allegedly this or that or the other thing. So it is very difficult because, yeah, it is a thing that you can't prove, and it's a thing that people want you to prove.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
It ends up being not what matters. Because if you just look at it, it's like No Villains Are Safe. What I say about No Villains Are Safe is like, AI or not, it's just recap content. It's just Family Guy funny moments. It's just watch an episode of Family Guy at that point. Then at least the people who made Family Guy are getting residuals for it. Although I guess with streaming, it's a whole, with that.
Yeah.
But you know, like, I point that out where I'm like, it doesn't even matter if it's AI. And then when they do something like, there was the one tell that they had, the blue shell player, where I was like, there's no way that wasn't AI. Why that happened?
Wait, what happened? What happened with the blue shell? What happened?
So No Villains, No Villains Are Safe, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah,
so No Villains Are Safe is, in all their descriptions, they say we proudly don't use AI. And there's a lot of plausible deniability to No Villains Are Safe. The voice does sound real. The videos themselves are mostly just playing footage of SpongeBob, of Family Guy. Like, it's mostly footage anyway. So how hard would it actually be to write descriptions of the thing before they come in? Like, I have said that benefit of the doubt for them, but there was one video, it's actually my most popular video on the podcast channel, I think. And it was an analysis of it. The video was, what percentage of Family Guy is cutaways? And then you watch the video and they give you an average percentage of the cutaways. That's clickbait.
That's straight up clickbait. But yeah, that is straight up clickbait.
And there was one part where it was discussing a cutaway where it was Peter and the father-in-law, Carter. And he was like, it was like some episode where he was like brain dead or whatever, and he was all like messed up.
Yeah, something. I know the episode. Yeah,
and Peter was like, all right, now I can finally beat you in Mario Kart, Carter. And there's like a cutaway to like him playing Mario Kart, and he's like all like comatose. He drops the thing, and the voiceover went, yeah, I bet Peter still had trouble beating Carter because Carter really seems like a blue shell player. And it said blue shell player. And I was like,
that is okay. So that's good on your end, because that's an example of that is so clearly AI. That is something ChatGPT would so fucking say some nerdy shit like that. He seems like he'd be a blue shell player. Which, if you've watched Family Guy, Carter would never play video games. He would think video games are stupid and are a waste of time. He would literally, that's 100% how he would think, because he's get it.
Well, he was playing the video game in the cutaway. The reason that I identified it as AI was because I know Mario Kart, and a blue shell player is not a thing. People said,
that's not a term. Yes,
they said a blue shell player is a thing where like you go to a certain placement and you try to get a blue shell to like troll. It's not an actual strategy.
The strategy I used to play competitively, so I know.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's called.
I can tell you play Mario Kart.
Bagging is the actual term for the strategy, and it's where you stay in last place, you get lightning bolts, and you go up to first place and use the lightning bolts and screw everyone over.
Because when you're in a lower place, the spawn rate for items of those frantic items is higher.
Yeah, you get better items, but you don't like blue shell is not a character, it's an item.
Yeah,
so
you're not a
mixed
blue shell
up
player.
How like if you were playing Smash Ultimate and you said, oh, that person is a Steve player,
a Steve main,
you would say that with that same kind of disdain because Steve is at the top of the tier list. So it mixed up blue shell because people hate the blue shell. They go, oh, I got blue shell that ruined my race. They mix that up, and they mixed up someone saying something like,
This is a really good assessment,
And
dude.
they
This
mixed
isn't
up something like you're a Steve main or you're a Fox main if it were Melee, or any other fighting game. I mostly know Smash. I don't know any other broken
Yeah.
fighting game characters, but I'm sure there's many. And it mixed those up. And I said that was only a mistake that AI could make, because if you were a person, even if you were a bad writer, you wouldn't say blue shell player, because you'd have to know enough about Mario Kart to know that that's not true. But what could happen is what I think happens with No Villains Are Safe is No Villains Are Safe is a first draft AI, second draft human. They have people going over it. They want to get rid of it's not this, it's this. They're aware that there are tells, and they tell their writers, take out these tells, that allegedly, obviously, even still allegedly, even those blue shell thing. And someone who doesn't know anything about Mario Kart at all, has zero knowledge of it, would not be able to write the blue shell player line. They would never be able to write that line, but they could see that line and not identify it as incorrect. And that was why I thought that blue shell player is, at this point, the biggest AI tell on No Villains Are Safe so far.
No, like I said, that was because at first I thought you were just saying the way that he would write it, but exactly what you said there is 100% the thing.
Yeah.
And competitive Mario Kart, being a blue shell player is not a thing. That's like not the terminology for it at all. I can tell you know a ball though. I can tell. I can tell you.
And I even said, I was like, you got the wrong guy here. I was a former. Maybe someday I'll do it again, but I was a Nintendo YouTuber before I did this. So like
Majora's Mask on the hand, bro.
Hey.
I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'm self-proclaimed.
Ocarina of Time remake.
Dude, I'm stoked for the Ocarina of Time remake. I'm stoked. I'm stoked. We don't need another remake, but I'm stoked. Okay, so one thing I want to touch on is I think AI is the issue, but I think we can put aside AI. The issue really is content milling, okay? Like I really want you guys to understand the issue with No Villains Is Safe is No Villains Is Safe is most certainly doing a mixture of human-made content and AI content. They're doing this to make it less detectable and to come across as more authentic. That's why they have a real voiceover person. Scripting is a little bit easier to hide in there, exactly with what you said, where I think they're either writing a script or and then feeding it through ChatGPT, or they're having ChatGPT do like the research for them and then they're proofreading it like you said, right? It's one of those two things there. The problem with No Villains Is Safe is that it is like a factory and a machine. And that's really, in my opinion, like obviously I don't agree with AI being used in content at all, but like I think we all get way too caught up on the AI part. And I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about that part. What I'm saying is like there are channels out there like Watch Mojo that might not even, I think Watch Mojo does use AI now, but they weren't at one point, and they were still wrong. Yes. Even 5 years ago, before ChatGPT was introduced, like Watch Mojo was still ass 5 years ago. They were still really bad 5 years ago. So to me, the AI is just a new tool for automation. Remember what I taught you guys, YouTube automation and investment channels. It's a tool for them to bring down their costs. But ultimately, like No Villains Are Safe. I'm not gonna lie to you. I honestly think like editing one of those videos would still probably be a little bit of work. The problem is that they have an unfair advantage compared to me or you, because they probably have like 7 editors and they probably have like 5 writers, because they have this huge budget that they can use to invest into the content. So that's why I was saying like, I think we need to separate sometimes the difference between like an AI content mill and a content mill. What really matters here is a content mill. Like that is what is wrong. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it gets kind of hard to tell once a channel gets big. And here's why, okay? The reason we're able to detect Sponge Truths and like Cartoonology is that they've been going for a while. Like I've seen Sponge Truths for the past like year and a half. Like I've seen them when they maybe had like 30K subscribers. And when the channel's small is when you can really tell, because like a channel with like under 50K is not going to have the funds or the time to mass produce content. They're not going to be able to. They just will not, unless they have a team. So when you see a channel come out of the gate like Cartoonology that's releasing videos like every other day, right? This is why I could understand why people looked at me weird, right? That's the telling sign, because how are you able to afford to have this like manufacturing line? Like say tomorrow we launched a company selling donuts. We'd only be able to make so many donuts until we scale that company up, right? Like once we scale it up, we could start mass producing donuts. But now to give you another example, like I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but like LS Mark, I'll give you an example, is like not a content mill at all, in my opinion. Like at all. Like if you go to his Yeah, like if you go to his origins, maybe he does things in a way that you guys don't like. Maybe it's clickbaity. But Ellis Mark is an example of somebody who started out as like a completely genuine creator, and he's scaled his channel up to now he's at like a size where like he has a team and he's doing things at a mass level that can make it look like he's a content mill. So to give you to kind of sum up what I'm saying, no villains are safe. Is a content mill. Maybe it isn't an AI content mill. It's a content mill. Cartoonology is an AI cartoon content mill, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Ellis Mark is just a machine. He's like a big YouTuber now that has a machine behind him. And I personally don't think he's doing too much wrong, in my opinion. Like I think Ellis Mark is like okay. Like an example of creators that way bad is like Sweaty Clam. Sweaty Clam is a content mill. If you look at Sweaty Clam from the start of that channel, okay? Because I seen Sweaty Clam when it launched. Because remember, guys, as I said, Hypelit, the company that owned Grapple, had a variety of channels. One of the channels that I assisted on was a Family Guy one, and they did that channel because of like Sweaty Clam and all of those white background Family Guy channels. You know what I'm talking about, Jackson?
Oh, yeah.
The white background Family Guy
Sweaty
channels.
Clam is currently the most requested for me to cover next. It's
Sweaty Clam is exactly what I was saying, where it's a mix of human stuff. It's a real voiceover person. I follow him on Twitter. Okay. I know who the voiceover person is. And then they're most likely having AI assist with scripting. And then, as you know, you can't really fake video editing. Like there is AI video editing, but it's nowhere, like it doesn't look good. So the editing is probably some real person, right? So Sweaty Clam is absolutely a content mill. That is like without a doubt. If you look at from the start, the moment that channel started, they uploaded every 3 days from their first video, which is very clear that they have a team building up a backlog. Like I'm sure with you, Jackson, like I don't have a backlog of content. Like I have a video that I'm working on that's on the way, but I don't have like the funds or time to like mass produce like 10 videos in advance.
No, I
You
do
get what I
not
mean?
have a backlog.
I can't do that. That's an example of not being a content mill, right? When it's clear that someone's a content mill is when they've got like 10 videos in the backlog ready to go. Because what would you say if that was like a food product? What would you call it? It's a factory. It's like a factory mass producing content to be sold and to profit. So hopefully all of that made sense, because I was a little rambly there. But like people like Ellis Mark they're not a content mill, guys. That's just like a normal channel. They're just clickbaity. And as me and Jackson have kind of shown you, you kind of have to be a little clickbaity. You have to play the game a little bit. That way your hard work doesn't go completely unnoticed, is my perspective on it.
Yeah. And I think something that a lot of people miss that I try to talk about a lot. I talk about this a lot on my main channel too, and I always get pushback from it, is that content being substantive in some way does matter. Like it has an effect on the world. Something I often argue, because I get this pushback more often when I talk about like modern SpongeBob or like something like the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Like I'll just say like it just is missing those things that are important. And usually I use the term a lesson. That's the main thing I say. It's not always a lesson specifically. Or sometimes it has a lesson, but the lesson's not very good. But that's usually what I say. And I'll get pushback that I'll say something like, well, a story doesn't need to have a lesson. And they don't really argue why. But I understand why people have that knee-jerk reaction where they go, oh, this story doesn't have a lesson. Sometimes they'll say, well, like if you look at, the episode Reef Blower in SpongeBob, that doesn't have lessons. And it's like, yes, it does. You have to actually just analyze it.
It literally does. Just because it's a silent episode doesn't mean it doesn't have a lesson.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Squidward gets punished. He kicks the clam over. It's, it's all about that. So like I get this pushback a lot on, the whole, oh, it doesn't have to have a lesson. And what I usually argue with that is that the arts have an effect on the world. Like I get that they exist for entertainment. I get that the reason that we watch TV is because we don't have anything else to do and we want to put something on. But I think that in that moment that you're watching something, there is a value to engaging with something that is some sort of a lesson. And I think that in mass, having lots of content that doesn't have lessons because it's not expected to have lessons, or have for the sake of YouTube content that's factory generated to the point where you know, I've said this about No Villains Are Safe. They literally, it is in their best interest to not have substance, because you can't have substance if you're putting out 3 50-minute videos a week.
Yes,
it just is.
there's no way.
They
There's
have to
no
just
way.
recap. And in the absence of a lesson, in the absence of substance, you get nothing. And nothing, I think, is still bad. Usually the end of my argument there is to say, well, if you think that TV shows should not have lessons, you are in a way arguing that we should have a less thoughtful and less empathetic population. So you either have to argue in favor of that, which no one reasonably would, or you have to argue that there is some flaw in my logic, which I don't really think there is. Or you have to argue that it makes TV shows worse to be expected to have lessons, and it just never does. Like a TV show having a lesson, it's the opposite. It makes those shows better. So something I like to analyze is why people argue against that, why they actually do. So that's kind of a thing that I think about a lot, and I have a couple answers for it, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on why that might be.
Give me your answer first.
So my thought is it usually depends on the person. I think that in our culture, we are in a lot of ways encouraged to be apathetic. And I think the reasons for that are obvious. When you care about stuff, you challenge power. So people who are in power probably want you to be a little more apathetic. But from a less, conspiratorial lens, I think that some people just can feel a little insecure at times, like they're being talked down to when it says, like, because I'll correct these people about, like, Reef Blower actually does have a lesson. And I always try to do it in a way where I want to be like, well, of course you don't know. No one's told you yet, so there's nothing wrong with that. One of the best compliments that I get on my videos is, like, someone will say, like, even when I disagree with you, I like the way that you say it, because you say it nicely. Because I can be kind of stern, like just some of my speech pattern and all that. Yeah.
It's good.
When I did youth theater when I was a kid, I'd always get cast as, like, the authoritative father or like the priest or something, because it's just the sound of my voice is very authoritative. So I kind of try to push past that. But I think it does kind of come from sometimes a place of insecurity that people feel like they're being talked down to. I say this a lot with content farms too. People do engage with content farms. And I'll even catch myself too. I'll be like saying something like, yeah, like you wouldn't notice that if you're stupid. And then I take a second and I take a step back and I'm like, no, but like, you're not stupid if it tricked you, So like I try to find that way where I try to work in the relationship between the emotional the relationship between the emotional and the analytical. People feeling bad about not expanding their minds. They will dig in deeper because they're made to feel bad about it. And that's something that I think about a lot.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's very deep. We're getting fucking deep, but I like it. I mean, that is what your content is, right? You like getting deep into topics. So yeah, I can definitely agree with you. I feel like sometimes too with the AI content, sometimes it's just like, imagine like you're a fan of something and you click it. It's like sometimes you're not going to go into it with thinking it's AI and you can just get manipulated. It's just so easy to get manipulated, especially if somebody starts saying a bunch of buzzwords you agree with. You know what I mean? Like you go in, they start talking about how much they love season 1, 2, and 3 of SpongeBob. It's very easy to get manipulated and just like your brain just gets shut off to these very obvious signals that it's disingenuous. So it's just a tough one. It honestly is. It's a tough one.
It's a big one I've been noticing too is these sponge truths. I think No Villains Are Safe did it too, but sponge truths, I've seen it a lot. They love to say words like gaslighting. Or like there was another one where it was like where it was talking about pickles in SpongeBob. I think this was SpongeBob Universe was one of the
SpongeBob Universe. They're really bad. They own a bunch of channels. I was like looking at them the other day because they advertise that they're a content mill. They literally straight up make it clear because they own the Gumball one, and then I think that they got exposed for like a digital circus channel or something as well. I could be wrong. Yeah, Universe Channels. They removed it. Before they used to have it in their description, and they had like a whole website. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about here. They had a whole website that would show all of their channels. And it was like, I was like, you guys are just clearly like making it so clear that you're literally a content mill. You own like 7 channels. But go on.
Some of these like bigger things that like put out AI, like they don't know that they're going to get so much backlash for it. Like sometimes, and that's this happened recently. I covered the Jorge R. Gutierrez situation. If you heard about this,
I haven't. Feel free.
Yeah,
to me.
I covered it in a recent stream, and it was he was the creator of El Tigre. On Nickelodeon, and I think he was the creator. Wait, I don't want to say he was definitely the creator. I think he was the creator, or he worked on it. And he did a film called The Book of Life a little while ago, which I thought was a great film. I watched it recently before I even knew, before this controversy, I watched that film. He like did something where he partnered with Amazon, and it had to do with like AI in like movies and TV shows, and that gets a ton of backlash. Like, you know, like in the YouTube space, like it's getting through, but movies and TV shows are regulated. You know, they got unions, like they, you know, it's just much more heat on that. And he got a lot of backlash. And some of it was people who went way too far and actually, you know, were threatening harm, and that's always wrong. And I acknowledge that, but the people who are on the other side were like acted like that was the whole thing, which that was the whole thing. That was a whole other part of the discussion. But there was so much backlash to him. And when I analyzed the situation, something that I saw was like, I really think that this guy, I think he just kind of didn't know. Like, I think that, you know, and you can talk to people who are, you know, for all intents and purposes, normies. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, keep in mind, it's an age thing too. I'm just like, because I'm a millennial, right? So I have male friends that like see nothing wrong with AI at all. They're like, what's wrong with it? Like the boomers and millennials don't understand how much Gen Z and artists don't like AI. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
is he an older dude? How old? Do you know how old? Is he an older person?
I don't know his age. Go on. He was well into the industry. When did El Tigre come out? You know, 2009. You know,
yes,
like,
yes. Dude,
he would have been 30, well into the industry 30, by then, you know.
Yes. He's just an old man who doesn't realize.
Yeah, couldn't be younger than 40. I'd be surprised if he was 35. He made the show when he was like 12. So, you know, maybe he was a prodigy.
I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just showing people the thinking of some people. They just some people just don't even realize how bad AI is. Like, I've had friends that have had to educate them and explain to them why it's bad, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, you're right. This is not good."
Yeah.
But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen that too, where like people, who are like, for all intents and purposes, like normies, like they just don't really understand like what it is. They don't know like what it does. And I kind of said that was probably kind of the case. And especially if you're like up in the industry and are around these, you know, probably like executive, maybe tech bro types, you know, it was Amazon. Amazon probably filled his head with this whole idea, you know, and he had the language to it, the whole, we were going to implement AI into our workflow, you know, like it was like that kind of phrasing. I'm like, it was filled with these sorts of things. And then the backlash really is what, you know, and then he apologized and he went back on it and he said, I'm sorry to the people I've offended with like this whole thing. Like he totally had a redemption arc over it, you know? And I think maybe that was the thing with like this, you know, SpongeBob universe, Gumball universe, is that, you know, you said that they're, you know, in your Grapple case, it was like Tech Pro. I don't know exactly who owns Gumball universe, but I think it's a safe assumption that it's a similar deal of some kind of Tech Pro probably thought, I'm showing off this new tech. People are going to think it's cool. Like how people think crypto and NFTs are cool.
Yes.
And then they see that there's all this backlash and they see that there's videos of people who are calling them out for it. They're like, and then they just scale back. And that's probably, you know, the perception. There are some people who literally think it's like magic.
Yes. They literally think, yes. They do. There are some people that are so like, older people will use AI for like everything to solve their problems. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm in a band and all the people in my band are a bit older than me, right? They're like all like 5 years older than me. And there's times like they've wanted to use AI and I have to explain to them why. They're not understanding why. They're just viewing it from like, because to them, you have to understand, this is just, I'm not sympathizing with them. I'm just giving you a perspective. They come from an era where it's like, you have to like learn all these skills to do this. And now they're like, maybe I can make a review about a video game now, but I don't have to like learn any skills for it, which is a shitty way of, but that is their mindset, right? So it's like, to them, we're like, why don't we just like use AI for the flyer of our show, right? We'll save so much money. Like, because when we get flyers done, it costs like $100 to $150, right? If you're going to pay someone appropriately for their time. And I'll explain to them that it's like, maybe we'll save money, but you're not understanding how much this will tarnish like our reputation and our integrity and just our authenticity, right? Like how authentic we are. So it's like, like you said, some of them just think it's magic and they don't understand because they're out of touch with the modern day because they're old now. You know what I mean? I even, it doesn't mean it's okay though. I think it's good. I actually think we're being really responsible by not just being like they're evil fucking masterminds, like sitting there like rubbing their hands like, it's not always like that. It's probably like that a lot, but it's not all like that. Sometimes it's just some misinformed fucking boomer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very common. Like, yeah, I think people just don't get the backlash. And I think what you said was so important too, the whole like it will make people not like you, or it will make people like think you don't care about them. Oh, they have an AI flyer. Like they're going to be like, well, like, is this band any good? Do they care about like, why would like what, and I think something is too, it's always replacing the things that they don't know how to do. Like, like these people, like they're musicians, like I'm sure they'd be appalled if they were like, well, like, why don't we just have AI write your song for you? Like,
yes, exactly. That's like, that'd be sacrilege to you, but you're okay with doing a flyer and you're just viewing on the saving costs. But what you just said is such a good example. Like, oh my gosh, because it's like the way to make them realize and understand and like how fucked up it is imagine if I was like, instead of you playing drums, we're going to use AI to generate your drum part. You're going to be like, wow, you're going to be offended. Yeah. So that's how artists feel when you want to use AI to make a flyer. And it doesn't even look good too. Oh my God. There are bands in my scene that will use the AI flyers and they don't understand how fucking atrocious it looks. Like AI has a very distinct like style when it draws shit. And it's so, oh my God, I hate it so much. Yeah. I hate it so much, man.
And I think also like some of the, the logic to it too is like when you don't use AI for like a flyer, you have like no one is going to raise an eyebrow because like you're immediately alienating a certain amount of people. However amount of people that is, I don't know the percentage, it depends on the demographic and all that. But, and I guess this is more of a message to like aspiring creators out there, because that's also a thing that I like to do as well, is when people are trying to be aspiring creators, here are some ways that you can avoid the temptation of using AI, that devil's bargain, of like, ooh, like it'll save your time, but it's like, it's not going to do what you want it to do.
At all. You'll end up on a Jackson Finelli stream getting cooked. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. He's coming for you, bro. He's coming for you.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's absolutely not worth it, guys. Let me give you an example, okay? So for me, what was beautiful about when I got into YouTube is when I say I did gaming content, and I'm not going to ramble on too long about this, don't worry. But when I started doing gaming content, I didn't do Let's Plays. I did like reviews where it required me, Jackson will know exactly what I'm talking about. It required me to learn keyframing and like different editing skills, right? To make my content. I had to learn, because like, look at it like this. When I started as a content creator, I had to learn how to do creative writing. Like that's the first part. When me and Jackson write a script, we're doing creative writing, okay, which is a whole skill that people get paid for. Then we have to do voiceover work, which is a whole other completely different trade, voiceover work, right? Then once we're done voiceover, which is a whole other skill, we have to edit the video. We have to make a thumbnail. Those require Premiere Pro or Vegas or Photoshop, right? So like, I will say going the more conventional route as a content creator is just going to teach you skills that are very useful skills. Like I said, like, I don't like that company took advantage of me, but I was a little privileged that I didn't have to get up at 9 a.m. every day, guys, and go and work at Subway anymore. I used to work at Subway Subs. I worked at a Caribbean restaurant. I didn't have to do that anymore because I learned video editing and I could take video editing jobs. I was being drastically underpaid, but just to show you, like, you going with AI, you're never going to learn any of those skills, and you're never going to fully develop as a content creator that is super self-efficient. Like right now, if Jackson needed to make a video, maybe he has some help with his girlfriend with the edits, but he could make the whole video himself. He has the skills to do that if he needed to. And that's a beautiful thing. You know, that just is a beautiful thing. Those are like 5 different trades that you've learned how to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just so rewarding when you like put all that together, you know? And if
Oh my gosh.
you are skipping those steps, you know, with like the AI, like there has to be a moment where you give yourself pause and think, well, do you actually enjoy the process, you know? And that's what also makes it difficult when people use it in spots that are just the things that they don't do, something that they would hire out. At that point, they have to understand the value of human intent. That's always my argument. My big argument is the circle argument. I actually haven't brought up the circle argument in a while, but it's basically the circle argument. Huh? Oh,
lay it on me. Educate
yeah. The circle
me.
argument is basically you picture 3 circles. The first circle, like let's say you're talking about AI text or just text in general, a sentence, creating a sentence. The first circle is all of the possible sentences in the English language up to, let's say, 20 words. That is a finite number. It is such a large number, it's bigger than all of the stars in the universe, perhaps more than all the grains of sand in the universe. That's how big the number is of all of the different combinations of words that could create a up to 20 word sentence. Then you think of a smaller circle. That smaller circle is all of the sentences that AI could create. AI is not random. It responds to prompts. It does certain things. It's not just going to give you random sentences. And then you think of an even smaller circle, the smallest circle of all of them, still incalculably large, but the smallest circle of these 3. And these are all of the sentences that have human intent, sentences that resonate with people, the kind of sentences that a human would create, a writer would create. This is a subjective circle, obviously. There's lots of different ways you could think about it. Oh, what is good writing, blah, 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 blah. But we get the idea from what I described it. Now that circle could perhaps, so both of these circles, the 2 smaller circles, exist within the biggest circle, which is everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, everything within those parameters.
It's coming together now in my brain. I see what you mean. Big circle, then the 2 small circles.
Now, the larger AI-generated sentence circle could perhaps overlap like a Venn diagram with the human intent circle, but it would only overlap by pure chance. And that overlap would be so small, it's basically a monkeys typing Shakespeare situation at that point. Or the actual sentence would be a very easy sentence that could sound human intended, but is just a very easy one to write anyway. But you're not getting that human intent that is necessary for sharing the arts. And then from there, you know, you can apply that to music, you can apply that to images, video, and vocal performances. And then from there, you can get to the same argument where it's like, oh, well, like, why does it matter for like stuff to have human intent? Why does it matter for the arts to be meaningful? It's like, well, because the arts provide a social function of expanding our minds, of challenging our perspectives, of teaching lessons, of critical thinking, of all these things. You know, if you apply it to content and all that, you know,
Yeah, and to add to that, I feel like the nuance of your passion also adds that, because you're talking about human intent, how a human would say that. But even to add to that, right, like somebody who genuinely watches SpongeBob versus somebody who's just watching it to make content, they're both going to say widely different things. That's why I'll say, like, ball, right? Like I'll say, I love that meme. If everybody knows what I'm talking about on TikTok and stuff, is elite ball knowledge, right? I feel like knowing ball is the most human thing ever. It's like you're talking about SpongeBob and you know what you're talking about. You're going to say things that have this nuance and this personal attachment to it because you're expressing yourself in this passion you have about it. So just to add to what you were saying.
Yeah. I refer to that as perspective, human perspective. And it's what also makes every everything that's written different by a person.
Very well put way of putting it, man. I agree. One thing I want to add, I just kind of want to show you guys too. You don't have to show this. This is my wrestling channel. And the reason
I'll
I'm
show
just
it.
going to show you
For sure.
the most important thing I can tell you guys on YouTube, say you're somebody who does aspire to make content. And like we were talking about, like you're way better off doing it from scratch and learning those skills. This is a channel. This is my only other channel. I launched it 4 months ago. And this is the most, I'm extremely passionate about professional wrestling. To some of you, I understand wrestling might be cringe, but whatever, right? It's something I'm really passionate about. And to show you, because I didn't use AI and I just put love and effort into this channel. If you go to the first video we did, it was 4 months ago, and I've been able to grow this channel like pretty large in a very short amount of time without taking
respect.
any shortcuts. And this isn't me gassing myself up. I'm doing this to kind of show you guys, because you made the point of it before. If you're going to make content, like right now, if you're passionate about SpongeBob or you're passionate about Gumball or something, your nuance and what you're going to add to that content is going to take it to a whole different fucking level, guys. Like Jackson's passion for SpongeBob and Sneakers O'Toole, and Squidward Destruction, and watching every single Camp Coral episode like a psycho. That is what makes his content special and unique, is that it's genuine and authentic, guys. And that this is the beauty where we're talking about AI and how awful AI is. This is something AI will never be able to replicate. It just will not be able to replicate the authenticity of you being a genuine fan of something and you talking about it. And when you talk about something with your friend and you're really passionate about it and you get giddy, you get like that smile on your face and you get excited to talk about, that passion is actually the key to YouTube success. Like that is actually the key to it. It is not AI or taking shortcuts or even mass producing. Because see how we're sitting here, like look how big No Villains Are Safe are, or Sponge Truths, but they're lacking that authenticity, and people like us are able to see through it. They'll never really be able to peak and reach that top level because they're going to always be held back by that lack of nuance and authenticity. So I really just want to make that clear, that is really the sauce to YouTube. That is why Jackson succeeds, is that he's actually passionate about the things he talks about. He isn't just talking about something because it will get views or it's a popular topic, from my perspective. So.
No, for sure. That's really wonderful.
Absolutely. I wasn't plugging my channel there for the record. I just wanted to
Hey, I know you gave me the option. You're like, you don't show it. I'm like, nah, I won't show it. I like you, Corey. I want to show it. I want to plug it.
Just such a good example. Like all of you watching, you could literally go and do the same thing. There's probably something that you really, really fucking like, that when you talk about it, you could talk about it for like 30 minutes easily. Like go make content about that. That's how we're going to dispel AI, is like go make content about that. Go learn how to edit and write and make content about it.
For sure. All right. Well, I mean, I think we got a lot of stuff. Is there anything else you really want to share?
I'm gonna just glaze you a little bit more. If you want investigative content, I think Jackson has just literally proven his track record with this one. This is the most fair assessment I could have gotten, and I'm very thankful that you didn't go Carl Jobs on my ass or something. You know what I mean? So I'm very thankful.
Well, thank you, Corey, and for me to speak my praises of you. If you're someone who needs long compilations, if you like to fall asleep to content, and you're frustrated with all these AI channels, you want something authentic to fall asleep to, Corey's your guy. Also, you should definitely keep a lookout for Corey doing a different channel if you want other sorts of That'll be up in like a day or two. I have the channel made. It's going to be Cartoon Corey Shorts. And like I said, all my content will be uploaded there first. Cartoon Corey is still going to be like my main channel, but I guess almost view it like my secondary channel. It's like my compilation channel now. And I'm going to have a regular channel that just uploads normal content, which I think will help a lot. It'll make people see my content from a different viewpoint. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you made a really good point that the way that my content is presented, it doesn't really make it super clear that it's compilations and stuff. So you could see it. We've talked about it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful, and you did a great job.
That'll be great. And hey, if you like wrestling, here's your guy. Well,
if you want to see men roll around in their underpants, come watch it, man. I love wrestling. I love wrestling.
Well, Corey,
it's my passion.
Corey, thank you so much for coming on. It was so wonderful to hear from you. And I really wish you the best with your continued YouTube career.
Thank you, man. And I'll be watching you too. And hopefully we can meet up again and make some more content, you know, but this was great. And I was happy to do it. And yeah, thanks to everybody for watching. And thanks to your chat for not going in too hard on me, you know.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Bye-bye.